So now let's talk about sharps and flats. Those are the notes in between the natural notes. Now, just like naturals, they're single tones and don't portray a mood, happy or sad. They're not better or worse than the sharps and flats aren't better or worse than the naturals. They're the exact same kind of thing. It's just a note, a single tone. We just call them sharps and flats for a reason I'll explain later. But a sharp note, a flat note, is just a note, has no mood, and is just like a natural note. Here is a natural note. Now we'll stop for a second. Here's a sharp or flat. You see, it doesn't sound happier or sadder, it's just a single tone. Here's the natural. Might be a little lower pitch, but it doesn't sound happy or sad. So up here on the board, I've written out an example of some sharps, an example of some flats, and what a sharp sign is. It's kind of like a pound sign on your phone or a hashtag. A flat symbol is kind of like a lowercase b, but has a little more flair to it. If you see a letter and then a little lowercase b above it, that always will mean a flat. Just like a letter and then a little sharp sign above it, or pound sign or hashtag, that's a sharp. And that means this note now, this A, is an A sharp. Up here we have an example of the sharp notes, an example of the flat notes. And if you notice, what's interesting is between the note A and B, we have A sharp. But down here, when we're speaking in terms of flats, between the note A and B, we have B flat. That's because A sharp and B flat are the exact same note, and it just has two different ways of talking about it. So if we take the notes A and B, the natural notes A and B, the same note in between them is either going to be called A sharp or B flat. But it's the exact same note, exact same tone, just two different names, A sharp or B flat, depending on whether we're talking about a song scale or key signature, speaking in terms of all sharps or all flats. In basic music theory and in most song scales and keys, you would use either all sharps or all flats and not mix them. When we're talking about a song scale or key signature, we usually will always speak in terms, we'll usually speak in terms of all sharps or all flats. So here we go. We've got all 12 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, using all naturals and sharps. And then we have all 12 notes using all naturals, which are in black, and sharp or flats, which are in red. And we denote those by the sharp sign and the flat sign. Later on, we'll learn how to know when you're going to be using naturals and sharps versus when you're going to be using naturals and flats. If you want to find a sharp or find a flat, and you're looking in between the naturals. So here we have an A natural and a B natural. And the note in between, if we're speaking in terms of sharps, is going to be an A sharp. That's because the sharps always take the letter before it and go up one. So if we have an A and we go up a tone, we're going to find an A sharp. Just like C, you start at C and you go up a tone and you get C sharp. Start at D, go up a tone in pitch, and you get D sharp, and so on. After G sharp, of course, would go back to A. Now here, in flats, it's the opposite. So if we find a B and we go back down in pitch a tone, then we're going to find our B flat. Here, if we start at D and we go down, we'll get a D flat. Same with E and E flat. You would never take a D, go up a tone, and go D flat, because D flat goes down a tone, to the left, down a little bit, and this is up to the right. So now let's play an example of this. So here we have a C, and then a C sharp. See how that went up in pitch? C, and then C sharp. And here we have a D, and then down in pitch, D flat. D, D flat. D flat, same exact note as C sharp. So we can go down to C, back up to C sharp, and then up to D, which is the exact same as going C up to D flat and then D. So on a piano, the sharps and flats are the black keys, where the natural notes are the white keys. If I were to play a key and just hit this note, ding, that's a white key. That would just be a natural note. All these notes would be naturals. Any of the black keys are going to be sharps or flats. On a guitar, it's a little bit more complicated, but we'll get into that later. Here's an example of our piano keyboard with the natural notes labeled. A, B, C, D, E, and you can tell which one is which by the number of black keys. Here we have 2 black keys, here we have 3, and then 2, and then 3. And there is a pattern that shows you where the natural notes are. Like between the 2, every pair of 2 black keys, you get a D. And then you can use that D to find any other note. So an example of a sharp or flat is the note in between the natural note A and the natural note B. And that note is going to be the exact same tone, A sharp or B flat. So each of these are your black keys, which are your sharps or flats. And down here are your white keys, which are your naturals, just like we talked about up here. If you take this little section, pop it out, make it bigger, here you can see we have an A sharp or a B flat. Same exact piano key, same exact tone, 2 different names. A sharp and B flat are the exact same tone and exact same note. It's just which one you want to call it.